Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. But I am Kristina Owens. I'm a PA, as you guys know. I, for basically my whole life, thought that I was lactose intolerant since I can remember. Every time we ate out, every time I ate milk, I had stomach problems. When I was 21, I started to have joint pain in all of my joints, my knuckles, my wrists, my elbows, my ankles, my toes, everywhere, like a stiffness that, like rheumatoid arthritis. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis. I was like, it didn't like impede my life, but it was like, this is kind of weird. So then I found out that I was allergic to wheat and casein. I was on an expensive probiotic. I was down to eating like nothing but fish and berries. And then Sam, here's Samantha. I went to high school with her, which is so wild. She's a year older than me. And she was talking about this the same way that I do. And I was like, what in the heck are you talking about? And I just was so excited about it. I started it right away. Within 2 weeks, my joint pain was gone. So when I pulled retractors in the operating room, every single time for 6 years, I would like I'd have to like peel my fingers off. And then after starting Protandim in 2 weeks, it just wasn't that way anymore. It's weird. I had lived, identified with that. I was like, no. So whatever, it's been gone now for 4.5 years. And then I started to take our probiotics, and it took a little while because I was already on one. I wanted to finish them, and I was like, you know what, whatever. I have life advantages now. Let me just take it. Within 5 days, my stomach issues had gone away. Mind you, I had done all the diet things and all the changes, but that was the last thing that really healed the process. So obviously I jumped right in, and I just find it mind blowing. I'm so excited for you guys to meet and listen to Samantha. She is a mom of 4 kids, like all really young. She is a military. She was in the military. Her husband, Ray, was in the military. They are now, she'll tell you her story, but they are now retired, but they are amazing humans, and I'm really excited for you guys to get to know her. So thank you, Sam, for being here.
Oh, thanks so much, Kristina. It is totally crazy how we've known each other since high school. We played lacrosse and soccer together, and it's just amazing to me. One of the blessings of social media, with as many crazy things there are about it, I'm so blessed that we get to connect with our people and reconnect with the people that, that we loved in our past, and then to be able to share information with each other that can be helpful, and so that was such a blessing that we got to kind of reconnect over this. And it's been so fun to kind of just be on the journey, sharing this education with people, because I know with you being a PA, and I know a few of you here are as well, and just, being moms, being just people who want to do the best for our families and then help other people as well. It's cool when you find information that's valuable and worth sharing. And so that's what we hope to do here tonight with all of you. And I know you guys have talked with Kristina a little bit. Maybe some of you have gotten a few bits of information. Maybe you are kind of not knowing all about what we're chatting about tonight. But really, we're going to talk about a concept, the difference between activation and supplementation. And so I'm going to just pull up my my screen here. I'm going to try to share this real quick so we can walk through a few things here, because a lot of people are struggling in their health right now. I don't think it's any surprise. People, are you seeing that, Kristina? Is that all good? Cool. It's just a strange time to be in, because we have better access to information than literally ever in our past, ever in the history of the world. We have information at our fingertips, and for some reason, though, we don't seem to be doing better as a society, right? Like, it seems like more and more diagnoses are coming down. It seems like people younger and younger are getting diagnoses. It seems like people in general are walking around sick, tired, diseased. They have some sort of malfunction. It's very rare to find somebody these days that is not, trying to fix something that they're already struggling with, or, maybe taking medications already, or, just trying to figure out what's going wrong in their body. And so you got to ask the question, like, what's going on with that? Why is it that we have greater access to information than ever before? We have more medical capabilities than ever before, but we seem to have worse health issues than ever before. And so a lot of the reason for that is because we're being hijacked by the very environment that we live in, and that, quite frankly, we can't avoid. There's some things you can avoid to an extent. Processed foods on the left, all of us probably try to do the best that we can to eat really healthy. And once you learn about good health and nutrition, you now are aware of it. So you understand that things like the red food dyes and the yellow and all the food dyes are really harmful in our health. So you stop doing that maybe. Then you might realize, okay, I should avoid like the processed foods, and I should only eat as many whole foods and raw foods as I possibly can, and, prioritize really good, nutritious food. But beyond that, there's things that you can't really avoid, like the EMFs that we experience, the electromagnetic frequency from the technology that we use. Our cell phones are constantly on our body, right? We're constantly using them. And while they help us in many regards, they're really damaging every cell of our body and causing a breakdown inside. Pharmaceuticals, of course, some people need to use them at times when they are in a really dire situation, and they might solve a symptom or a problem in the short term, but inevitably all pharmaceuticals have that long-term side effect issue, and they're causing our bodies to have more internal damage and more toxic load inside. Things like herbicides and pesticides being sprayed on all of our crops throughout the world. It's really hard to find really good nutrient-dense food anymore. Our soil is depleted. Our food is full of pesticides and herbicides, and then our water as well. There's runoff in the water, and it's just like this constant thing that we can't avoid. Air pollution, since the Industrial Revolution, we've just added more and more and more to our environment with factories and cars and emissions and all these things. And what happens is that it causes us to have a toxic load, free radical damage on the inside of our cells, every cell of our body. And that leads to oxidative stress, which is rusting basically from the inside out. If you look at that apple, you can kind of think of like when you cut an apple open and you leave it on the counter and it starts to turn brown over time. Well, that's because it's being exposed to oxygen. The molecules of that apple are literally breaking down and it's browning. Well, the same thing's happening to us as humans and really all mammals, except we don't turn brown on the outside. We just little by little things start to sort of break down. Like we start to feel more fatigued. We start to have aches and pains where we didn't have them before. And some of this is normal with aging, but it's not normal that people as young as they are and people who generally should be healthy are breaking down at a much faster rate than ever before. And so oxidative stress is the precursor to over 200 different diseases. If you see that graph on the right, you see that, it's everywhere. It's in the heart, the skin, eyes, your organs, blood vessels, like literally throughout your entire body, the brain, the gut, everything is affected in a bad way when your body has too much oxidative stress. And so it eventually leads to chronic inflammation. And I'm sure all of you here know that inflammation is basically the root of all the bad things that we do not want to happen in our body. So if we know that we really can't avoid the environment we're living in, we can do our best to eat well and to avoid the toxic chemicals maybe inside of our own home. But the second you step outside and you experience all that toxic load, it's like, what can we do about oxidative stress? Well, just real quick, if you guys, if oxidative stress happens to be a new term to you, more and more people are understanding this term now. A few years ago, when I was introduced to this information, almost nobody, even medical professionals, knew this term. But now if you go to PubMed.gov, you'll see over 250,000 studies on oxidative stress and linking it to just about every disease that you can think of or every ailment in the body. So that's something to check out if you're interested in seeing kind of the things it's linked to. But what we're talking about tonight really is, like I said, the difference between activation and supplementation. Because when we look at what we can do to try to live healthier, and especially if you're interested in doing that in a more natural way, you're going to probably look to a lot of different supplements, a lot of different, you look at the body and you see what is the body deficient in, and then you start to take supplements to try to fix those deficiencies. But what we'd rather do is, instead of supplementing the body constantly. Sorry, I'm going to try to change the view here because I don't know if you guys can see the right side of that screen. So let me fix that. Okay. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Play. There we go. When we talk about the difference between activation and supplementation, we're talking about taking a quantum leap approach to our health. So real quick for like a just kind of an analogy, okay? If your house was on fire right now and you were going to try to put it out, would you go and get little Dixie cups of water and try to fill them up really quickly and throw them one at a time on the fire? Or would you call the fire department and have them come and stick a fire hose in every room of that burning house all at the same time to try to squelch the fire? I'm sure you'd probably pick the fire department rather than the Dixie cup approach. Well, the reason that that's more effective is because you are literally putting out the fire all at once in a much bigger concentration, right? Rather than little tiny dosages. So this analogy is the same as activation versus supplementation, because when we try to just supplement our deficiencies one at a time with one, vitamin here, one vitamin there, one supplement here, one supplement there, we're literally addressing the problems inside of our body at a 1-to-1 ratio. So if we have, free radicals bombarding our cells, all this toxic load, bunch of free radicals. Actually, we have 26 sextillion free radicals bombarding our cells every single day. And if you think that you're going to, eradicate that or squelch that fire with just a 1-to-1 approach with direct antioxidants and supplementation, it's just not going to happen. And that's why people for the past few decades, even though we know that, supplementation and antioxidants and things like that are a good and useful thing, it's simply not doing the job effectively enough. So rather, if you could flip a switch inside your body that has the ability to neutralize free radicals at a 1,000,000-to-1 scale, you're going to be able to put out that fire a lot quicker. And so that's what we're talking about. And that's where NRF2 activation comes into play. Specifically, what we're talking about is a combination of 5 herbs. So there are NRF2 activators being formulated that are pharmaceutical drugs. And like I said, with pharmaceutical drugs comes you need prescriptions, you need a lot of money, and you typically have side effects. When you do NRF2 activation naturally, we're talking about 5 herbs. Many of you may know these herbs: turmeric, green tea, bacopa, milk thistle, and ashwagandha. And they come together in a certain synergy that flips that switch on that NRF2 pathway. You now can eliminate free radicals at a 1,000,000-to-1 ratio. So you just are having a much more effectiveness at eliminating those free radicals and then bringing down that oxidative stress, which then in turn brings down the inflammation, and it's a whole chain effect within your body. Just some things to highlight here in the research community on NRF2. Washington State University says that NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. Now, I love that because some people will say, well, I'm already healthy and I'm young and I don't really need NRF2 activation. But what this study says is, well, it's very significant for prevention. So if you're worried or you're concerned about just having a good prevention plan, then activating NRF2 is, according to Washington State University, one of the most extraordinary preventive measures that you can take. Conversely, some people will say, well, I'm already ailing, I'm already old, I'm already kind of breaking down, it's too late for me, Well, Washington State University says that this is the most extraordinary therapeutic strategy as well. So on both ends of the spectrum, NRF2 activation is so powerful. And some people will say, well, is NRF2, is that a product? Is it like a thing that was made up? NRF2 is simply a pathway that exists inside of every cell of your body. And when it's operating properly, like when you were a baby, when you were a healthy young baby, NRF2 is working properly and it's allowing your genes to regulate the right way. What happens over time is NRF2 goes awry as you age and as you're exposed to more of that toxic load that we talked about: the herbicides, the pesticides, the pharmaceuticals, the pollution in our air, all the things that are adding that damage. So just one more thing here from Oregon State University. It says when it finds a problem, NRF2 essentially goes back to the cellular nucleus and rings the alarm bell, where it can turn on up to 200 genes that are responsible for cell repair, detoxification of carcinogens, protein and lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other actions. In their report, the scientists called it a longevity assurance factor. So guys, for those reasons alone, that was so appealing to me for NRF2 activation. And even at 26 years old, when this was introduced to me, when I learned that, I realized, wow, this is such an important strategy in our health, and really that foundation of health. So tonight we're talking specifically about the product that Kristina said helped her in such a big way, Protandim NRF2. Now, Protandim is currently the only patented NRF2 activator on the planet, both pharmaceutical and herbal or natural. The only one that's patented and proven by clinical research and published, peer-reviewed and published on PubMed.gov, that says that it can actually lower oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. So there's not another drug that can say that. There's not another herbal supplement that can make that claim. Similarly, there's nothing else that can say that it increases the body's production of glutathione, which is the master antioxidant enzyme in the body, by 300%. So this is really powerful. It's really powerful that something that is herbal has such research and such empirical data behind it, because if any of you have ever worked with herbal products or with supplements, then you know that they might work. There might be good testimonials, but there's very rarely good independent peer-reviewed research, and certainly doesn't usually make it to PubMed. So Protandim has actually been studied and published 28 different times on PubMed.gov. So if you're a nerd like us and you like to look at the studies on PubMed, then you can go check that out after this and read what all different universities like LSU, Texas Tech, Harvard, Ohio State University, American Heart Association, all of those institutions have funded their own studies on Protandim, and they've published some really compelling conclusions, and you might want to go check those out on PubMed.gov about Protandim. And it's not about the ingredients in Protandim, because sometimes people will say, oh, our product, this herbal product that I take has research. Usually they have research on the ingredients inside of the product. This is actually research on the patented full product of Protandim NRF2, which is the combination of those five ingredients. So I just want to tell you real quick about the story of LifeVantage, because I think it's important. Sometimes people will say, well, this sounds really too good to be true, and if I've never heard of it, then I'm kind of just a little skeptical about that. But there's a little bit of a reason why it's taken some time to get the word out about Protandim, and also the way that it all transpired happened a bit organically and unexpectedly. So 2003, you have to understand, LifeVantage was just a biotech and research company. And in 2003, the lead scientist, Dr. McCord, he had been researching, he had spent his life's research from the time he was at Duke University. He had spent his life's research trying to figure out how to activate a molecule in the body called SOD. Now, that's one of the antioxidant enzymes in the body. So he knew that would be really good for health. But what he didn't realize was that there was actually a pathway in the body, NRF2, that turns that antioxidant on, and a lot of others, like the glutathione, like catalase, like all these other good enzymes in the body. And in 2003, when he was working with LifeVantage, this publicly traded, biotech company, he and his team put together these 5 herbs that I just told you about: green tea, milk thistle, bacopa, ashwagandha, and turmeric. And when they put them together in a very specific way and a specific recipe, they found, after the first clinical study where they took people from 20 years old to 80 years old, they found at the end of 30 days, across the board, there was a reduction of oxidative stress by 40%. That was such a huge monumental deal. They had no idea that they would find those results. It was really just something that blew them away. So in 2005, ABC News comes knocking on the door and says, we hear you've got a pill that reduces oxidative stress by 40%. We call BS. There's no way that there could be something that does that, because it's never been done before. They come in, they investigate, they send John Quinones in to take the product. They give him a blood test before. The blood test is called a T-bar test, if you're interested. And he took it before, and then after. He was supposed to take Protandim for 30 days straight, because that's what the claim is after 30 days. But trying to make some good television, he only did it for 2 weeks and then had his blood tested again. But his oxidative stress came down by 45%. So once again, they were blown away that the results were there. The clinical study was there. Then John Quinones comes in to do an investigative report, and they find that his oxidative stress came down by 45% in only 14 days. And it was just a big deal. And the people watching that report that night in 2005 wanted this product. They called into the company. They were like, how do we get our hands on it? But Protandim wasn't being sold really anywhere. It was a new discovery. They didn't realize what they had their hands on. So once they did, they started to try to sell it on shelves like GNC, because it's not a drug. It's not something that would go prescription through pharmaceutical sales reps to doctors. It's completely natural. It's not an FDA regulated drug. It's just an herbal supplement. And so they put it on the shelves of GNC, Vitamin Shop throughout the country. And they found that this is a product that needs education. Nobody went into GNC asking, how can I reduce my oxidative stress? Do you have a good Nerf 2 activator for me? They had no concept of this. It was something that had been done for the first time ever. And so they realized after a couple of years that they needed to have a strategy where people could educate one another about why this little yellow activator is such an important deal. And so in 2009, LifeVantage decided to start marketing Protandim through a network of distributors, people like Kristina, who have a link, and she can share this information. She can point people to the information like you're seeing here tonight. She can point people to the peer-reviewed research on PubMed, and she herself is using the product and sharing her story, her honest story of what reducing oxidative stress has done in her life. And so that's it all kind of went from there. At the same time, those universities started to study Protandim, the ones that I was telling you about. And then in 4 years time, LifeVantage basically went from 3 million in sales to 200 million in sales, primarily off of one bottle that is $50. So Protandim for 1 month supply, it's one a day, every day. It's $50. And the company grew to $200 million in just that short time, because of the results people were having. They knew that, okay, this is good for prevention, and that's great. I'll take it every day just to maybe, prevent some bad stuff and hopefully, prolong good health. But then as they started to take it month after month after month, they realized, wow, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so clear-headed. I'm sleeping like I've never slept before. I'm recovering so much quicker after workouts. Like, I wake up, I feel refreshed. I can go to bed. And then even bigger things than that, we don't like to get into making too many big medical claims whatsoever, but, I've been doing this for 8 years and sharing this information for 8 years. And it never ceases to amaze me, the stories that people will share with me of what has happened in their health. Some things are downright miracles. And it's not because it's a miracle pill, it's because your body's a miracle. And it's equipped with all the right things that it needs to heal itself. But we need to go flip some of those switches back on, because they've been shut down by the toxic world that we live in. And so this is a true breakthrough, and it's something that's really exciting to have the opportunity to share with people, because it's simple. It's a simple approach to health. It's not the end all be all. I truly believe this is the single most important foundational block to your health. And then what you can do beyond this just allows you to have that much more effectiveness in your overall health strategy. So again, here are some of the studies, or the universities and institutions that have studied Protandim. And again, if you'd like to go check those out on PubMed.gov, go type in Protandim. You'll see 28 studies there with regard to what they found in their different labs. LSU was studying Protandim because they were studying melanoma, and they knew that there was a direct correlation between high oxidative stress and people who get melanoma. The results were pretty astounding. They did it in lab rats, of course, because all studies start in rats and then they work up to humans. But they found that, or most studies, I should say, because the first study on Protandim was with humans. But, they found that there was such a reduction of the amount of mice that were getting melanoma, or the amount that it was multiplying. And that was a really big deal with Protandim. And so that then spawned LifeVantage, or prompted LifeVantage to create a topical version of Protandim. So then they made a skin cream that literally is the ingredients of Protandim, but for your skin. So it's really fascinating the way that everything kind of happened organically. It was just, wow, we didn't expect that. Wow, this study was really compelling. And wow, we didn't realize that your skin has the ability to flip that switch too. There's NRF2 in every cell of your skin. So it's just really, it's been a journey of research and development, and then practical application. People, everyday people getting to use this product and see how it's allowing their health to just improve. Here are the ingredients just one more time. The one thing I want to share about this is we all know that each of these ingredients has, individual benefits. So green tea is great for digestion, and has a lot of great antioxidant capabilities, and just overall supporting good cardiovascular health. It's got a lot of great natural benefits on its own, right? So many people take green tea extract. Many people take bacopa extract because they know it's good for concentration and alertness and focus. They know that it's good for, healthy memory and for just generally helping your cellular defense. Milk thistle is a great liver cleanser. Most of the people that I've ever talked to, they say, oh, I take milk thistle because I know it's good for liver cleansing. So that's something that people are already taking. Ashwagandha, great for, a lot of people take this as sort of a natural anti-anxiety and brain calmer. And then turmeric is a big one. I'm sure most of you know, for inflammation. A lot of people are taking a turmeric supplement at this point. It's probably one of the most common herbal supplements that people are taking. But the ingredients alone are one thing. What is so fascinating to me is what they found in one of the peer-reviewed studies on Protandim, when you combine each of those ingredients in the recipe that Protandim is. So they looked at what happens when you take ashwagandha individually, and it has barely a blip on the radar. Like it barely made it a dent in what it can do. Same with bacopa and green tea. The milk thistle, a little bit more, had a little bit more effectiveness there, and turmeric, just a little blip on its own. When they looked at Protandim, which is just the combination of those 5 herbs, each at a very low dosage, but together they had an 18-fold effect. There was an increase there of the effectiveness 18-fold, and that's synergy, guys. I mean, that's a synergistic effect that is so powerful, and that most people only understand who are in the science community. So I know a lot of you will understand synergy, but I kind of like to give the analogy for people who are more lay people to just say, like, hey, when you bake a cake, you can't just, stick flour and sugar and butter and oil into a bowl and mix it up and have a cake. Like, that's not the way it works. You need synergy. You need chemistry. You need to put the exact amount of flour. You need to put the exact amount of sugar and butter and oil, and put it at the exact temperature for the exact time. And that's what creates a cake. It's a similar thing here. This is what happens when you put the right ingredients together at the right time. And that's the reason there's a patent on this, because actually multiple patents, because you can't really patent herbs. But it's the fact that when they come together, each of them become 18 times more effective. And also it activates NRF2. We know that it activates NRF2, thereby reducing oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. So some really powerful science here. And I love talking to people who appreciate science, because sometimes that goes right over people's head. Like, they don't realize, wow, 28 studies, peer-reviewed studies on an herbal product, that's literally unheard of. But to people who understand what that means, that's a really big deal. And it's a very compelling reason to use it in your own health. And then, a lot of us feel a moral obligation to share it with other people once we know that that exists. So I just wanted to show you guys this real quick, because when you go to Kristina's site to check it out, you're going to see a bunch of different products on her site. And you're going to say, wow, like, I thought that it was just Protandim. Well, it was just Protandim. For the first 4 years that LifeVantage went into this distribution model of peer-to-peer network marketing. For the first 4 years, it was just that one little yellow activator, one a day, every day. And that's what really allowed the company to just soar. But in that time, then they realized through their research and development that, wow, there are ways we can activate other areas of the body simultaneously. I told you about the skincare. They realized with the melanoma study with LSU that, wow, you can actually help things in your skin with Nerve 2 activation. So now there's a topical version of our Nerve 2 activator in our True Science skincare. And there's the facial skincare, and then now there's a body care line as well. We also have a shampoo and conditioner. Again, it's Nerve 2 activation for your scalp. And the results that people have are amazing, and they're all really, really clean ingredients. So if any of you guys are interested in really clean ingredients that you put on your skin, check out the Think Dirty app. That app, you can put in any one of your cosmetic items that you use, like lotions or shampoos, conditioners, things like that. And it will rate your product if it's in there. It has almost all of them on the market in there. And it'll give it a score of how clean the ingredients are or how toxic they are. And you'd be surprised. A lot of products, even that say like natural on them, show up with a really bad score. But LifeVantage's products are all in that green zone. They're all very clean, all 0 to 2s, which are the highest, the best rating you can get on the Think Dirty app. So that's important to me. It's important to our family. Our whole family uses both the skincare and the hair care. But then the cells in the gut, that's really what Kristina was focusing on, and what really started her journey here. And that's what we're talking about with that probiotic that LifeVantage has, and which is of course so crucial for good gut health, and the activators, Protandim. You will see now, actually, if you look at the site, that there are 3 different Protandim products. The main one that we just talked about is NRF2, but there is Protandim NRF1, which allows your mitochondria to repair itself and produce more healthy mitochondria in the body. And then there's Protandim NAD. So NAD is all about cleaning up the cell, the waste produced in our cells, and allowing your body to clean that up naturally. So when you take those all together, that has an even greater effectiveness. So it's very exciting that not only is there, individual products here that can help you in such a big way, like the probiotic alone would help you in a big way. Protandim NRF2 alone, as I said, I think is the single most important foundational block for your health. But if you go and you expand and you see, okay, I could actually do more, I could build upon that. There's so much more to offer here, and things to check out. The one product that I'm just going to show one more little bit of information on is in the brain. So that Axio packet at the bottom there that says brain, that is Nerve 2 activation for your brain. And it is a drink. It's a powder that you mix up in a drink. I'm actually drinking it right now. So it won't keep me up at night. It's energy and focus, but it's really about improving the mental fatigue. So a lot of times when we feel like overwhelmed and fatigued, it's not because we're actually physically tired. A lot of times it's because we have mental fatigue. And so the awesome thing about Axio, it's really replaced my coffee habit. It replaced my afternoon, wanting to have a soda. That was a long time ago. I hate to even admit it, but like I used to have to I was a Marine Corps officer. I was fit, I was healthy. But I still, and I was young, I was 24 years old, but I still would drink like 4 or 5 cups of coffee in the morning. And then I'd reach for like a soda in the afternoon just to get me through the day. Well, that's because I had mental fatigue and I wasn't activated yet. I did not have my internal, systems working and firing on all cylinders. But then when I started to take Protandim and then started drinking one Axio every morning, I felt phenomenal. I had great focus. I could go the whole day through without that crash. I didn't have jitters. It's just a calm way of having that mental and physical energy. And I will never go a day without this. It's a delicious drink. And one thing I love to point out here is it's not just a feeling. There's real science here. There's real things that we can see. In fact, we have neurological specialists who have now done brain mapping on some of their patients with ADHD. And Kristina could share that with you. There's a video where it shows the brain map of a kid who had been struggling with ADHD, and it shows you the brain activity before using Protandim NRF2 and Axio, and then a week later. And guys, it's astounding how it's like the dots just started to connect in the brain, and you can see it in the brain map that he goes through. And this little handwriting example is just a more of a testimonial example of a child who struggles with ADHD and autism. And he's a friend of mine, a chiropractor friend of mine. This is his nephew. And the teacher called his mom and said, "What are you doing with your son? Because in 1 week's time, I'm noticing that his handwriting, like look at the difference in his handwriting in 1 week. has just gotten so clear and focused, and he can just write, and he can sit through the class and focus like he hasn't before. And they didn't realize it was because they started giving him the Axio in addition to the Protandim NRF2. So it's just things like this, guys. There's so many people looking for answers and not getting them. They're trying so many different things and they're spending a ton of money. These products are incredibly affordable. Like I said, Protandim is one a day, every day, and it's $50 for a 30-day supply. Axio is also $50, and it's so effective, right? So it's just simple to do, simple to take, and making a difference both with empirical data, with the science, and then also in people's lives with the tangible results they're getting. So that's all I wanted to cover. Kristina, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that as far as the science goes. I know a lot of people came to hear a little bit more about just like the story behind it all and how this works. And I hope that shed some light. I would be happy to share, for some people, like if that's what you came here to get, and you wanted to learn about that, then there's definitely get back with Kristina and ask any questions that you have about these products and about how you could get started, or any questions that you have, even if you're skeptical. Like, I love all the questions, so there will never be one that is too bad to ask. But I will, if anybody wants to stick on, or if anybody wants to hop off because they got what they wanted, I'd be happy to share just a little bit about our journey as well, from a financial standpoint and a business standpoint on this, because I know there's lots of people right now, there's uncertainty in the world. Jobs are kind of up in the air with so many different things going on. So I would love to share that with some of the people. I know some people have asked, what is the ability to share this? Is there a side of this where we could share it as well? So I will be happy to stick on here and share that. But Kristina, did you want to share anything else about the products or anything before we see if anyone wants to hear the rest of the story?
No, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, guys, if anybody wants to hop off, that's great. I'm just going to kind of share a little bit of my story with what LifeVantage has been able to do. If you want to get back with Kristina for her site and her link on how to get started with these products, it's super simple. And there's free shipping available. There's an easy monthly, can get these delivered every month. You can stop it, start it, edit your shipment. It's super easy. LifeVantage makes it so you're not like locked into anything. And there's no crazy commitments where you're going to be stuck with a shipment every month for the rest of your life. Because I know we've all been down that road with some companies or more than one by now. So I just want to tell mine and my husband's real quick story about this business, because guys, I have to tell you, it has blessed every aspect of our life. We've now been doing this for 8 years, but it was the first 6 years that really took us from having to be apart all the time to then having the option to spend our time where we wanted it. And what we started out as were 2 military officers. My husband was a Navy pilot and I was a Marine Corps officer, and we had no time together. We were literally we didn't even live together. For the first 4 years of our marriage, we didn't get to live together because we couldn't get stationed near each other. We had our first daughter along the way. My husband was leaving for a 10-month deployment right before this information came to me. And we were just like praying for a way that we could create something that would allow us to have time together, maybe down the road, a business or something. We joked that we would just invent something and then we could be together as a family after the military. But this came our way. A fellow Marine officer shared this information with me, just like Kristina was sharing it with you, and some people see this information and they just want the products. Some people share this information or see this information and they want the products, but they also want to look and see if there's a way they could create an extra income stream. And for us, we felt like this is exactly what we were praying for, a way to create something in the very nooks and crannies of our busy lives, little by little over time, so that at the moment when we could move on from the military, that we would have the option to either be home together full time or travel together. Or for us, what we've decided is we want to homeschool our children. We now have 5 children, and we get to homeschool our children. We travel all over the country, basically whenever we want. We've got a big van and we travel around. And we were blessed to go on this trip to Ireland right before the whole kind of world shut down, and that was just because we've shared this information with people. And you see this team on the right, and we've shared it in a way where people, they're attracted to it. It's not a way that is salesy. It's not a way that is like, hey, got to do this and got to climb this ladder. It's like everybody gets in where they fit in here. As I said, some people just love these products and want to use them. Other people love the products and then they share them with other people. And then those people have incredible results and they want to keep sharing it. And it's just trickled into this beautiful team of people who are really servant leaders. They're people who sincerely want the best for people. They just want to do the best for their family. Maybe they want to create some options in their lives. And that's what we've been able to do. And so we just wanted to let you know that this is a possibility. It's something that can start small, or you can hit the ground running and kind of move it faster. But we would be remiss if we didn't share that opportunity with you, as people were able to share with us. So the end of the story, or I guess part of the story that we're on, is that after 6 years, we were able to replace my husband's income with LifeVantage. He was a Navy pilot, and we were able to completely replace that income. And then in the following year, we were able to double it. And he was able to completely walk away from the Navy. And now we have the ability to do what we choose and do. We don't have a boss telling us that we have to do this or have to be there. And that's a blessing to us. And we want that for as many families as possible. Now more than ever, we feel like people really need options, and families need to be strong and together as much as possible and not be torn apart constantly. So if that's something that you or someone is looking for, reach out to us. There's a bunch of questions that people have about this business, and the quick answers are no, there's no sales quota. There's no buying and shipping products. You use what you consume, and LifeVantage sends the products to the end user directly. You can build it small, medium, or big. You're part of a team with mentors, so you're not starting from scratch. My dad built his own business from ground up, manufacturing company, and that was really hard work. He had to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars and do everything himself. With this business, we've been able to have a very lucrative outcome over, several years of hard work, but it's hard work in a different way. You're working with a team, you're following a system that we help you and teach you. And you have people who want the best for you. Everybody wants to see you do well here. So that's really awesome. You get out what you put in. And we don't do any spamming. Like if you go to our Facebook pages, you're not even going to you might even not know what company we work with, because we really do not want to do that. We want people to come to us who are curious rather than be pestering people about something they're just not interested in. So we kind of teach you how to do that and how to find your people. So, and there's tax benefits, so many tax benefits that my husband and I had no clue about when you start a home-based business like this. So if there's anything here, guys, that is interesting to you tonight and you want to have a further conversation, with Kristina and me, or just get back with Kristina with any questions, we would be more than happy to help. We're just blessed that you were here. I know Kristina is so appreciative that you took the time to be with us, and thank you for bearing with us with the technical difficulties on the opening part of this session. But we appreciate you guys, and I'm happy to stick around for any questions, Kristina, if anybody has them. But with that being said, that's the end of our presentation tonight.
I can't believe I had a brain fart and said you have 4 kids. I know you have 5 kids. I'm sorry.
I didn't even realize that.
I was like, oh my God, I think I said 4.
It's hard enough for me to keep up, so don't worry.
I know. You got your own army troops over there. But anyway, I'm so grateful you guys are all here. Thank you so much. And please, if you guys have questions, let us know. We're open books and happy to answer anything that you have now. You're obviously always welcome to get into my inbox too. But
yeah, if anyone has a question, you could unmute or write it in the chat or raise your hand. Yeah. School style.
I have a question.
Yeah. Hey, Sarah.
Hi. Is there any data or experience or know of anything with breastfeeding and pregnancy taking these supplements?
Just my personal experience. So my personal experience, and then hundreds of other moms that I know personally that have decided to take these before, during, and after. And I've had one baby without these products. So my very first, I didn't have these products at all. And then the next 4, I took Protandim before, during, and after. And I also, they weren't all out. All the products weren't out with all my babies. So as they came out, I would take, more and more. And my pregnancies have just gotten better and better and better. And my deliveries are incredible. I've had all natural births, except for the very first one that I didn't have the products. I had a regular hospital birth and all the things. But then with all the next 4 completely natural births, I've had home birth. I've had, no drugs. I've never even taken an Advil in recovery. The pain is so minimal. I'm not saying that that's like it's going to cure you of all pain. I'm just saying that what I've found and what a lot of the moms that pretty much all the moms that have decided to do this is they find that when your body has so much less stress on it in every cell, and then less inflammation, because that's a big thing that Protandim also does, is that it brings down the inflammation in every cell of your body. Your body is now not dealing with excessive amounts of stress and pain when you're pregnant, when you're delivering, when you're recovering. It's just able to do that recovery so much quicker. And then with nursing, I have just noticed that my milk supply is so good. And that's what a lot of people report, is that their milk supply is a lot better. In fact, we have a lot of Amish people who are part of LifeVantage because they like to use the natural products, and they find that this is very beneficial and affordable. And then they start actually, they've been giving Protandim to their dairy cows, and they're noticing that their dairy cows are having better milk production, which is kind of radical and fascinating. But a lot of animals, people are giving Protandim to their animals for different reasons, just because they experience the same, oxidative stress that we do. So horses take it, dogs take it, dairy cows take it for their nursing and milk production. So yes, I mean, no studies, but just all of our observation. Just
same with me. I had an amazing pregnancy. I had no swelling in my feet. My breast milk supply was tremendous. My boobs never hurt, not one time. They didn't want red. They were full. I breastfed for as long as I wanted to. I chose a year, whatever everybody likes to do. And it was really, really, really smooth. It was really nice. But I only have one kid, so I don't have anything to compare to, but it was pretty great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for asking that, Sarah. Well, great.
Sarah, what's your last name?
Coffee. COFFEY.
Okay. We have another Sarah on here too. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't confusion.
Yeah,
okay,
my
awesome.
Facebook name is the weird. It's Sarah, just so patients can't find me and stay under the radar.
Oh, absolutely. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I think I did that in the beginning too. And I was like, that's it, everybody needs to know. So whatever, but okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Well, that's all I have. I'm going to I didn't tell the other girls that were on here. I didn't say this soon enough, but I'll touch base with all of you guys to see where you're at and where I can help. And if I haven't, if you have any further questions, and, if you want to move forward with products, like choosing which product for you, you've got an amazing rundown by Samantha. But if you have any further questions, I'm here. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you. I'm happy to always do more questions later. So thanks, ladies, so much for being here. Kristina, thank you so much for having me. It was a fun time.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'll get the recording out in case, anybody wants to share it. Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you so much. You're the best.
Awesome. Have a great night. Of course.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.